You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Welcome to the exciting world of the movies.
Alright, and we are back in the movie graveyard, digging up another great cinematic corpse that a lot of us are going to remember from our childhoods, from the video store days, from watching on HBO, whatever. We are rolling today talking about the 1987 film. I want to say classic, but I guess it probably isn't a classic, or thought of as a classic. We're talking about Mannequin today. The Goat with Ladybird. Ladybird, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Ready for this romantic adventure.
Romantic adventure through time, yeah. You might have to speak up a little bit because it's noisy today. So,
yep.
So get ready to lose your voice. Alright. So yeah, we're rolling along on a noisy Sunday, getting ready to watch this movie. We'll go ahead and roll right into it. I'm going to go ahead with the sync instructions in case you have the DVD or the Blu-ray or the whatever at home. Maybe you have the VHS tape at home and you want to play along. I'm rolling off the Blu-ray, and there's about 20 seconds at the beginning that have been added to the Blu-ray that probably aren't on the DVD or is slightly different than the DVD. So on the Blu-ray, there's like an Olive Films logo, which is the company that released this on Blu-ray. Thankfully, thank you, Olive Films, wherever you are. And then there's like a brand new MGM like CGI lion logo that obviously was not on the original release of this movie. So that takes up about the first 21 seconds, and then you can tell like the first vintage piece of video you get on this Blu-ray. It's going to be the gray background, and then it's going to have a blue logo. Hopefully you guys, if you're rolling on the DVD, will have the same thing. And then eventually it's going to come up and say Glad and Entertainment. That's where I'm paused at the 21 second mark on the Blu-ray. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. And when I say go, hit play on your remotes there. All right, everybody, remote in hand. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, we're rolling along. Again, as always, when we watch these older movies, I miss these opening titles, even if they're like from, lesser known companies. Like, I don't remember this company at all, but I like that kind of opening, cartoon logo look.
Yeah, I always feel something that is nostalgic when I see it. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. My favorite is Orion.
Yeah, Ryan was the best. Here we have a title card where the movie started on Edfu, Egypt, a really long time ago, right before lunch. So we're in a mummy sarcophagus. It's very clean. They kept these pyramids very clean, apparently. And then we see the mummies, and then obviously we see a woman, the camera pans back, pretending to be a mummy, trying to hide. And her mom comes in here. And here's where we're introduced to kind of our female lead of the movie. Later identified as Emmy. I'm not sure if her mom calls her Emmy here or not. The Blue doesn't have subtitles, but I have an earpiece I can listen in every now and then if we need to check in on what they're saying. But basically her mom comes in and hounds them because she's supposed to marry somebody on this day. And it's kind of like... what would you say? It's kind of like the days when women have no say in anything.
Yeah, it was an arranged marriage.
Yeah, to a camel dung farmer.
Yep.
Or trader, I should say. Yeah, dealer. So, yeah. So, obviously, this is kind of like a phony styrofoam, pyramid. I wouldn't doubt if this was, like, left over from another movie or something. Maybe that's why they placed this opening time, period as being Egypt. But I don't know. I like it. It's got a fun look. It's a cool way.
It's a real set.
It's a real set. There's torches. The lighting is good. The blue lighting coming down the staircase. It's pretty cool.
Oh, there's an earthquake.
Yep, there's an earthquake. Something magical has happened.
She just made her wish.
Yeah, she made her wish that, she could be far away from her, and she disappeared into a cloud of smoke and all the shaking and stuff.
I think she does call her Emmy.
Yeah. So that's your opening scene, and now we go into what was
awesome cartoon.
Yeah, it was always great. Glad and Entertainment presents. They have like a Saturday morning cartoon type feel thing here going on, and this happened a lot. And you know you're in for a good movie when you had a comedy movie that opened up with a cartoon credit sequence.
But it actually kind of explains what happened to her when she disappeared.
Yeah,
because they show. I mean, this part is kind of just silly, but
although they do depict her now, her character as being a cat. And everybody is an animal for no apparent reason.
Yeah. But now we see here she's met up with the Vikings.
Yeah. Like, the first time you see this movie, though, you could watch this cartoon, even if you do pay attention, it doesn't make much sense to you because you don't know.
Then she just went by some friars, and now she's seeing an artiste, and now she's around where the Mona Lisa was made. Now Christopher Columbus.
Yep.
So it's showing that she's, like... She disappeared and kind of time traveled.
Yeah, she's pretty much a time traveler.
And I didn't catch that the first time that we saw this a little while ago, and I didn't catch this cartoon that it was showing all this stuff before.
Right, and that's what I was saying, is like you kind of don't know this. There's no way you could possibly know the very first time you watch the movie that all this is actually, canon, so to speak, in terms of the storyline. Like, all this stuff happened,
And now it looks like she went to space or something.
Yeah, the future. Yeah. But we kind of get the feeling that she always comes back as some sort of sculpture.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
Yeah.
Or the painting when she was Mona Lisa.
Yeah, here we get some great shots of Philadelphia, which is where the movie took place. For years, I always thought this was a New York movie because, a lot of the old city parts look like New York, but it's actually Philadelphia. Now
here's the hunky star of the movie in his soap opera soft lighting.
Yeah, and now we come in and Andrew McCarthy got the glamour shot lighting going on, looking more beautiful. They lit him more beautiful than they did Kim Cattrall. And here we have the opening montage. He works as a mannequin sculptor for a mannequin company.
It's not really a montage. It's just they're playing the whole song.
Yeah.
And they're just showing all the workers dancing to it and stuff.
Yeah, the song My Girl's playing, because this is his girl, this dummy that he's making. We get to see him, she's kind of just like an armless, legless torso at first, and then he literally constructs her. But even one of the co-worker guys was dancing in the background, So apparently, you would see this a lot in old comedy movies. Here's the co-worker.
He's jamming.
Yeah, a bunch of men in a warehouse or a mechanic's garage or something. Always in the old movies, we're all big softies and always dancing around to romantic songs and whatnot.
Oh no, there's nudity.
Yeah, they show the mannequin naked, and the mannequin is 100% it's anatomically correct with breasts, and very erect, supple nipples and whatnot. I was actually surprised, because this is a PG movie. But as we talk about sometimes with these, PG movie, you could get away with a lot more back then.
Yeah.
And I like how the boss comes up and says he could win the Dummy of the Week award, and he's all happy. But he says, I'm not talking about the mannequin, so...
It's just funny that you made that observation about how naked she was, and I don't know, to me, I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't even it didn't even faze me.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it.
Well, just the framing of the shots, they could have, if they wanted to, they could have shot it in a certain way not to show her hard nipples and all that. So he gets fired from being a mannequin sculptor.
Now he's a balloon guy.
Yeah. And the mannequin had way much more makeup on in that scene than she ever does later on, But yeah, now he's a balloon. Like this is kind of like the montage of all his jobs that he gets fired from. That's kind of his shtick. He gets fired from jobs. So,
what do they call those guys?
Just balloon makers, I guess.
I can't remember.
Yeah, balloon artist, really. Like he's twisting all the balloons into poodles and shit. And it's at a park. It's kids' party. Giant balloon. The little boy wants to grab the giant balloon.
He wants the one with the company's name on it.
Yeah, so this isn't one that you're supposed to give out to the kids. And of course, the little boy gets it, and great hijinks ensue. He lifts up off the air. I love how Andrew McCarthy grabs him to save him, and the dad runs over and says, "You freak, let my son go!" And the kid just goes up into the air.
He's like, "Okay."
Yeah, Andrew McCarthy gets fired, but we gotta assume that this kid died from this because He would have had to let go at some point, and then just would have dropped to the earth. Now, this is the first shot where we see Andrew McCarthy's feet.
Yeah.
And he wears bowling shoes.
Yeah.
The whole fucking movie, he wears bowling shoes.
I noticed that, too.
Yeah, one's half red, one's half blue, and they got you can even, in that shot, you can see they had whatever his size was in the back.
So in that job, he was a sculptor of the...
bushes.
Yeah.
But he wasn't supposed to sculpt them, he was just supposed to trim them.
Yeah.
And he made it a giant rabbit. Which is funny, because like, he probably, if he would have went to the right place, he probably could have made a lot of money doing that, because...
And now he's sculpting pizzas.
This was the only one that was a little weak as far as... Because his character is supposed to be that he's an artist, he's a sculptor, but literally there he was just arranging like all the peppers and shit on there.
I can't remember what they call those ones that design those bushes like that.
Aren't they like arborists or something like that?
Oh my gosh, I cannot think of any words.
Yeah.
There's a word that they use for those.
So here we kind of get introduced to for the first time to his girlfriend Roxy. She works at Illustra, I think it's called, which is a very 80s
chic, modern,
yuppie department store. And he picks her up on his Harley Davidson, which is it's actually a nice Harley Davidson too.
Yeah,
It's painted nice. It's like a classic one. I don't know exactly how old it is, but it's one of the older models, and it's nice. I mean, we'll see in a second here. It breaks down a lot, but it looks nice. And I always thought that was like a cool thing to like pick a girl up on a motorcycle. But all these yuppies, they look down on him, because he doesn't have like a limousine or whatever.
a car.
Yeah. And, I have to, wonder how long he was supposed to have been with this girl, Roxy, because, right off the bat, you can tell that she, doesn't, she's not his kind. He's like a bohemian type. He's low on money. Like, she really wants to go out to dinner. He wants to take her for a hot dog. They end up getting frozen yogurt instead.
Yeah, they totally don't make a good couple.
Yeah. I mean, they could if her attitude was different, but she doesn't really like his broke act. Like, she even takes a cab home because she doesn't want to, bum around with him anymore.
Well, she wants a guy that has money and a steady job.
Yeah. But, I mean, all the guys she works with, she's, he looks really young in this movie. This is he's only a couple years removed at this point from playing high school students, so he still looks young. He could pass for a college student even. She looks a little bit older, late 20s, but everybody she works with is a 52-year-old fucking yuppie dad. So I mean, everybody she works with is so old. So I get he doesn't have money the way all the guys she hangs out with at work, but then again, it's I still think she would want to date a younger guy or whatever.
She's surrounded by nasty perverts, too.
Yeah. We'll get to that when it comes up. But yeah, here we have a great classic scene of his bike won't work, so he has to push it through the streets of Philadelphia. Of course, just great movie timing, your car, your motorcycle, whatever, always breaks down right when a rainstorm starts. And he's pushing it through, he's drenched, and these rain machines... Even you were remarking how hard this rain was.
I was impressed with the way he walked a pretty far distance, and the whole time it was just raining. I was just curious how they had the rain going that entire way that he was walking.
Yeah.
Because he was moving. It was how did they make it last for so long?
Because I know at Universal Studios, the actual studio part, they put a roof kind of over the studio for some movies, and they have actual rain machines that go in entire blocks. But this was actually shot.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean that's at a studio. This was actually shot for real in Philadelphia. So I mean, whatever they had on the top of the buildings to shoot the rain down,
That's impressive for back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't imagine they'd have something like that. Okay, so I looked it up. The balloon person maker is called a balloon artist.
Right.
And the one that makes, it's not their name, but the ones that make the sculptures, those are called topiaries.
All right, that's what it is.
God, I was trying to think of that word.
Yeah. So he was pushing it along there, and he saw his mannequin that he made. He recognized her in the window. And
he had to leave her when he got fired.
Yeah, and then as he was looking at her and talking about how beautiful she was, the lightning hit, and all of a sudden his motorcycle worked again. He was all happy. So this is the next morning now. He's coming to the store, waiting for it to open. They're raising a 100th anniversary sign. He wants to try to get a job here because he wants to work with his mannequin.
Yeah.
He can't. Like, the mannequin in this movie is very important to the story. The mannequin is like the girl who got away.
That's what it's called, mannequin.
Yeah. He created her with so much love. Here we get introduced to Estelle Getty, who's the lady who owns the department store.
But it's not even, like, a perverted love that he has for her. Like, he's genuinely, like, as a piece of art, kind of, like, he's in love with it in that way.
Yeah. So here, what happens is the giant sign that they're raising that says 100th anniversary comes down. He has to push Estelle Getty out of the way. Somehow, instead of just pushing her out of the way, he grabs onto the sign and starts riding it up and down. I mean, this thing is going to good.
Oh, there you got zapped in the butt.
30 feet in the air. He's swinging back and forth. Somehow there are live cables hanging. There's actually twice. That part in the very end of the scene, he gets like a shock right on his ass, which makes him scream all high pitched. And like some shots, you can kind of tell are a stunt guy, but like these ones, like it's going up pretty big.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it got him twice.
Yeah. So I say it gets him at the end too. He gets shocked in the ass.
That's funny.
And like here he's walking, he had his hands behind his back. I wonder if he was actually just grabbing his ass because it just electrocuted. And I was looking up, like they looked everywhere to find the right department store that would like look magical and big and grand. And they went here, and it was in Philadelphia. It was actually the first department store in all of Philadelphia, so it's pretty famous. Here you go. Yeah, this is like I forget what they call it, but this area is like the Grand Court or something like that.
I can't believe a place like that exists. It's like it looks like a big giant you'd see in like Italy or France or something.
Yeah, it's so huge. I mean, I can't even describe really comparison how big it is.
But even the way it's made, like it looks so fancy.
Yeah, it looks like it's at least 4 or 5 stories high inside, you know, and you can see all the different levels. Now here we're introduced to Mr. Richard, so I guess it's kind of like the GM of the store. Also played by James Spader, who was playing lots of sleazy roles back then. And I mean, he's pretty sleazy in this movie in terms of like the way he lies and tries to screw people over. But he's also like a really
such a character.
Yeah, he's like a nerd. He has greased down hair, and he's just very nerdy. And he's always smoking these little thin, skinny cigarettes. And I just think it's funny because like here Estelle Getty, you know. It says, hey, we got to give this guy a job. He needs a job. And, you know, because he saved my life. And Spader tries to offer him $5. And it turns out he actually, you know, has a job. So, you know, he wants to work with mannequins or whatever. But the thing that's, like, so interesting, it didn't even dawn on me until we were watching this the other night. Look at Spader dragging off that little cigarette.
He makes such funny faces.
Yeah, like, he's really over-the-top comedy. And it's great to see. But it's amazing that literally, because he's so transformed in this movie, I kind of almost don't even recognize him. But this was like this movie came out like only a year after Pretty in Pink, where they played like best friends, like, you know.
That's funny.
And, you know, Spader was the sleazy rich guy in that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they're kind of adversaries, you know, and I'm sure that probably, you know, because I was like, man, like, a year before these guys are playing high school students. And now here they are.
One's his manager of a store.
Yeah, a huge department store.
The other one's like a post-college guy looking for a job.
Now here we see his girlfriend Roxy at the store she works at Lustra, and this is great. This is obviously way before the Me Too movement, because her coworker Armand
practically raping her.
Yeah, he's air humping on her. He's telling her, you know, he can't believe that little twit boyfriend gets to have sex with her.
Trying to eat her out.
Yeah, getting down on these. I mean, and to her credit, she's like slapping the piss out of him.
I know she does. It's funny the way she like reaches her hand out to like punch him and slap him.
Yeah, I mean, she's really like doesn't mind beating the shit out of him.
And he never goes away.
No, yeah, he's always still sexually. I mean, there's like it's not like innuendos. It's not casual hitting on somebody. Like he is just sexually harassing the fuck out of her. And like we said, I mean, it's played for comedy, and you know, to her credit, she stands up for herself. But yeah, people would like be running out of the multiplex crying in tears if they witness that now. I don't think the world is can handle that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we cut to McCarthy. He's actually snooping around the store. He's supposed to be working in the stock room as a stock boy.
He's trying to find the mannequin.
Yeah, he's trying to find the mannequin. So, like, he's going into women's dressing rooms thinking that's going to, this being like a department store, it's, as far as I can tell, it's not connected to a mall. It's just the old school department store with the big display windows that face the big main street and all that. So he's trying to find these back way, but he keeps going into fitting rooms and seeing women's tits and stuff.
Well, no, the first one he went in, it looked like a fitting room door, and it went into the front window.
Right, which I think that obviously was cheated.
See, like those look like it. I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah, I think
it's just what they used to for the movie.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's totally they cheated the location.
Yeah. It's just weird how much it looks like a fitting room.
But when he's like accidentally opening the door and seeing all the women naked, like Spader's right on top of him, and like Spader really wants to fire him because he gets the feeling that he's like a weirdo or whatever.
Here's my favorite.
Yeah, so now he's finally found the dummy, and he gets creeped up on by Hollywood, who even though this whole thing is a hijinks movie, Hollywood is really the breakout star of this film. I remember when this movie came out how much people loved Hollywood. He's a very flamboyant homosexual gentleman, very artistic in his dress, played by the great, unfortunately, the late, great Meshach Taylor. And I just remember everybody at the time was shocked to find out that Meshach Taylor was actually not a gay guy.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's kind of like weird because it's like one of those things because he's so over the top. Flamboyant. Yeah, like people, this is like one of those movies people on the surface will say like, oh, that movie was this or that, or it was, it was stereotyping, or it was whatever. Yeah. But the thing is like it was a straight guy playing a gay character, but it was a gay character everybody loved at a time when there was hardly no gay characters in any movie at all. So, I mean, in my mind, like, that's a positive, like, it's a positive portrayal, because him and Andrew McCarthy's characters, like, they turn out to be, like, really good friends in this movie and stuff, but...
Well, and they're in no way, like, trying to make fun of
no.
Somebody who's like that, The guy has real relationship issues, and he talks to Andrew McCarthy's character about it, and, he expresses real sensitivity about, self-esteem and stuff, so... Yeah, he's a real guy. It's not just like a parody of somebody.
Yeah, and here we meet the security guard who's kind of like the bad guy, and he actually he thinks Andrew McCarthy is gay just because he works with a gay guy. And I
know. I was surprised how like offensive the things this guy was saying were.
Yeah, he doesn't use like a typical homophobic slur.
No.
But he calls Hollywood a little Mary.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard that like at all before. Maybe it's
like an old school term.
Either it's old school or they just kind of softened it up for this. But I mean, it's like the one, and even then, that's really the only scene I think where they really outright say something, anti-gay or whatever.
I think he kind of says something later on, but it's not as like brash.
And it's like, but I mean, they're clearly making the bad guy, and then McCarthy even says, hey, it's better than working with a bigot.
Yeah.
So here we start finding out Hollywood's problem is his boyfriend Albert, I believe his name, told Hollywood that his ass was too fat. He has cellulite city. Hollywood's like, he's grabbing his ass, asking Andrew McCarthy to look at it. So...
You could tell Andrew McCarthy's naturally reacting to it.
Yeah, I think maybe this scene in particular, I think maybe a lot of the stuff Hollywood says is improvised because it's like everybody in the scene with them cracks up most of the time.
Yeah, you could tell he was just watching him do his thing, and just enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. And, like, a lot of times we watch these movies and they're, personal favorites of mine or whatever. And, I have to be sad that, like, these movies weren't popular. But this movie was very popular. I think they made it for about $8 million and made about $43 million at the box office. And they made a sequel a couple years later, and the only person who returned was Hollywood.
Wow, really?
So, yeah, that kind of shows how popular the character was.
See, on this part, he's, like, kind of expressing sadness, but not in, like, it's not funny. Like, you actually feel sad for him.
Yeah, because he's actually, like, legit upset, and, McCarthy kind of reassures him, hey, take the night off, I'll finish. And it's very, what you expect to see in a department store window here.
Oh, here she is.
Is this plain kind of back to school fall theme. Yeah, this is the first time the dummy comes alive in front of him. I have to say, I think the thing that, makes this movie is the performances. And I think Andrew McCarthy does a good job of reacting to this and being...
He's like, what the heck?
Being weirded out about it, but also, being comedic about it.
Well, and kind of, there's got to be some sort of feeling, too, of, he's happy because it's like his dream come true came to life.
Yeah, because he was in love with this man. So he's expressing happiness, too.
Yeah. I think the one thing I liked about this, which is kind of connected to how I was saying earlier, how you pointed out she was so naked as the doll or whatever, and I didn't even notice. I think the reason why it doesn't occur to me is because he never looks at her sexually gross,
Right.
even when she was the mannequin, he never now is the first time he's what the heck, and he's looking her up and down, but even when she was still the doll, he was always looking at her in her face.
Right, yeah.
So, I think that's why it just never occurred to me that,
Yeah, because when he was making her, it totally wasn't, the weird science thing of, look at them giant boobs.
Yeah.
It just was all about the face that he sculpted,
Yeah. He really thought she was a work of art.
Yeah. And this is,
He's in shock.
Yeah. And here we kind of cut to...
because he was supposed to meet the girlfriend for dinner.
Yeah, the way I understood it was he originally wasn't supposed to even work all night.
Yeah.
He was supposed to leave.
Yeah, but he told
Hollywood to go home and go look for Albert.
Yeah. I was going to mention earlier, too, that scene between him and the security guard. I was kind of surprised on the comment that he made, when the security guard was being all nasty and, offensive. When he said, well, it's better than working with a bigot. When I first heard that, I was kind of wow. I was that was so, aware.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't imagine somebody to say something like that then. It's funny.
I mean, I think it's, they do a good job of, in a very short amount of time, setting up who the good guys and bad guys are. Because, this is, a very silly movie. I think more in retrospect, the idea seems crazy to people now that you would make a movie about this. Mm-hmm. By the time in the 80s, there were so many fantasy-based movies that, nobody thought twice. But it's kind of loosely based on, I guess it's a Greek ancient myth of, Pygmalion, about the sculptor who falls in love with his statue.
Yeah.
Now, here she just drops her clothes in front of him. And because this is PG, we don't see the real woman naked, but, and he's kind of
well, because he was seeing her naked when she was the mannequin, so to her, it's nothing.
And she even says, you weren't shy when you were making me. So, she actually does have appreciation for the fact that he made this body for her,
Yeah. He fell asleep at the store.
Yeah, he fell asleep. He wakes up.
And the girlfriend was still waiting for him.
Yeah. I like this scene because he wakes up in the window with the homeless man outside. And he sees this eye-popping, merchandise display that they made.
It's the first one.
Yeah.
That they, fancy one that they made with her in it.
Yeah, so that's kind of the gist of the movie is they start making these great, well really she does, she makes these great window displays, works of art. That one had a lot of bodies with tennis rackets on heads on them and the tennis racket moves around.
At that time, I guess it was considered, impressive.
Yeah, really artistic.
Because no one really had moving, displays and stuff.
And really that bold, I guess, is really what it was. But here he tries to catch up with his girlfriend, Roxy, and she's getting a ride to work from Armand, the guy who sexually harasses her. And Armand's totally being a dick to Andrew McCarthy as well. And, I always wish... obviously he's freaking out because he's explaining what happened, that he hallucinated that a mannequin came to life and all this shit, and she don't care. But I wish there could have been a moment where, Andrew McCarthy would have punched Armand in the face there. Because, he's, so obviously, trying to steal his girlfriend,
Well, she was going to start walking to work, and then the second McCarthy showed up...
She jumped in the car to piss him off.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about where he lives for a second. What did you say when you saw this the other night?
How could he afford to live in a place like that when he has, like, no jobs? Like, he keeps getting fired. I kind of got the impression, because the way he's dressed, like, even when he showed up at the store the first time, like, that... I mean, the leather jacket's kind of, like, battered and stuff, but he kind of has nice clothes still. Like, I just kind of got the feeling that he, like, came into money or was, like, born into money.
His family,
yeah. Because, like, yeah, it's a pretty fancy place to be living for somebody who has no job.
Yeah, it's like a huge ancient loft apartment. There's even stairs going upstairs, so I'm guessing there's, like, an attic or something. But, yeah, it's really big.
Wasn't a junky apartment.
No, yeah, it was pretty nice.
So they think that he made the window.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he did.
You know, and I never put, like, two and two together, like, when they go to the shop and she's trying out all the power tools and she's excited. I never, like, it didn't click really till last time I watched this that, like, she was all excited because she wanted to build things with her hands.
Yeah.
And, you know, because, like, there's the gag where she almost shoots his fucking face with a nail gun.
I know. So now here's this, like, super tacky 80s store.
Yeah, the competitor store. That's what I love about 80s movies. Like, it doesn't matter what your movie was about. There was always, like, a bad guy in it. Like, I miss that so much, even in comedy. So, like...
When he was always super sleazy.
Yeah. So, you know, like, if you're making a movie about a hamburger restaurant, you got to have an evil hamburger restaurant to compete against you. Or in this case, it's the same thing. There's an evil department store where his I guess, kind of ex-girlfriend now, Roxy, because she kind of just blows him off from this point. And everybody is getting the word back how excited, because, like, literally crowds are gathering on the street to look at his window that he made.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, because the point was this store was so old and traditional, I guess. This is a really nice store. Like, I'd much rather go to that store than that shitty mall one that all the yuppies are at. But, like, you know, the story kind of posits that, you know, nobody was shopping there currently, or they're having bad business trouble. So, like, the window is getting people excited about the store again. And, you know, this is where we find out, though, that James Spader is actually a mole working for the sleazy department store.
He's trying to get in with the other store.
Yeah, he's reporting back, and, you know, he's telling the guy, you know, he's going to have the guy fired who made the window, and they won't whatever and all this. So, yeah, and the bad guy who runs the other department store, his name is B.J. Worth, I should say.
And usually in these kinds, like the movies that you're saying, there's always a bad guy. And usually the bad guy owns or runs the business that's kind of like a newer, modern
corporate
version.
Yeah.
And then the older one is like, so old school.
Family
owned. Yeah, and like has no business existing anymore.
Yeah. So now they're all at the they're actually having a boardroom meeting about this whole window display. Like, what are we going to do? This window display is attracting so much attention. And Spader's in there lobbying to get McCarthy fired. And this is a great scene here where Hollywood shows up to, you know, preach on behalf of Andrew McCarthy and not get him fired.
And he still has the price tag on the suit.
Yeah, he has his flamboyant clothes, but then he rips them off and he has like a real nice business suit.
A normal suit.
Yeah, he's going to go corporate to go in there and tell these people what's what. But he's so hysterical, he can't fathom the idea of Andrew McCarthy being fired, so he starts getting ready to jump out the window and commit suicide.
A scene if they don't hire him.
Yeah. And Andrew McCarthy has to pull him out of the window and wrestle him to the ground. Just great how hysterical Hollywood is. I mean, just the energy that this performance has, like
him too, though. I really like James Spader too as this character. Like, as annoying and weird looking as he is, like I like watching him the way he is.
Well, I think too the reason like why Hollywood and Spader are so great in there, like they both have in there, even though their characters are way different, they both kind of have that manic comedic energy you don't see a lot. It's almost like on the level of like a Robin Williams or Jim Carrey, you know?
Yeah. Just actors that are willing to go above to like really, you know, show an exaggerated character.
Yeah. But what's good about it is like it's all within the context of the story too. Yeah. They're not just like It's not like those. It's not like now when you see like these Jonah Hill movies or whoever, and they're just riffing on and on and on and making all these jokes that don't relate to the plot at all.
Well, like one of the movies we just saw, where there was a character who was like totally over the top for no reason.
Oh,
it didn't make sense of the story, but here they do.
Yeah. So now the board meeting lets out, and McCarthy gets to go in and find out he's not fired because the owner of the store, Estelle Getty, obviously loves what he did, and
he promotes her. She promotes him.
Yeah, from stock boy to head visual merchandiser.
She loved the window so much.
Yeah. And he tries to explain that he doesn't know if he can keep that level up,
But she believes in him.
Yeah, she believes in him. So this is another, and then it gets good too because it's like, it's kind of fitting too that it took place in Philadelphia where Rocky took place because it's another rags to riches type story.
Yeah.
I like how Spader totally does a 180 and tries to convince McCarthy that they were ready to fire him and he saved his job.
Yeah.
And I love the end of the scene too where they all leave the boardroom. McCarthy kicks his feet up on the boardroom table and he's all happy.
And he does that little ow like Hollywood.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah, Spader telling the homophobic security guard, Felix Maxwell here. I'm gonna screw up this guy's name, but it's like BW or GW Bailey. He also played the evil guy from the Police Academy sequels. That was like, and it's so interesting because like his uniform here is almost exactly like his uniform in Police Academy.
That's funny.
Yeah. So Spader tells him to keep an eye. I like there's like a businessman back there just standing around reading the paper in this like employee hallway. It's funny.
Well, it kind of looks like it goes out into like a subway or something.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, maybe it does. They're in Philadelphia.
Oh, look, there's all the time cards.
Yeah, there's like, you know how old school this is, because look, there's hundreds of time cards.
That's funny, I didn't notice that before.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's all like the legit stuff at the store. Because I was reading how the real life department store that they filmed it at, it was known for, having so many employees.
GW.
Yeah, GW. It's Bailey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy's a great comedic actor. No, yeah, he goes to visit her again and she comes to life again. So, like, now he kind of, understands that, she because he didn't know, because he thought it was a hallucination if this would, happen again.
Is this when she tells him that only he can see her?
Yeah.
Or she'll only come to life when they're alone?
Yeah, no one else can see her. Because because he created her.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, here she starts going in her past, talking about how, she couldn't give Michelangelo to fall in love with her because, he was gay and the Pope knew. And then also she talks about how she inspired Christopher Columbus to, set sail and stuff. So, yeah, she's responsible for...
She was the one that told him that the Earth wasn't flat.
Right. And here's, like, it's like a line you almost miss it right here. But, like, they're walking around the store and they get to the audio department and she backs up on a button and, all these giant speakers starts playing music and she goes, where do they hide all the musicians? Like, she has no... Yeah.
She's never heard of stereo before.
Yeah, she has no clue. And I gotta say, too, for both the opening credits, I don't know if that song wasn't out yet, but for both the opening credits and even that scene and her character, I can't believe they didn't get Walk Like an Egyptian in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been so perfect. You're gonna have to look that up to see which came first, the movie or that song. But here we have like basically, and this is like almost like what happens in Career Opportunities, where the people are locked in the store overnight and they just play like a million different types of dress up and they dance around and they're like kind of like role playing here, and he goes through like a bunch of different characters, and like half his characters, jeez, he's like always smoking and stuff. Like, yeah, here he is kind of playing like
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, Phantom of the Opera, and then she dances. Yeah, Walk Like an Egyptian came out 86, so probably around the time they were filming this, but I wonder which one inspired which. Well,
they could have used it.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, because like it was like, she was even doing like the walk like the Egyptian dance like they do in the video in that one scene. This is kind of my favorite when they're in the freight elevator and he's dressed up with the guitar and she's almost got like a Tina Turner 80s look going here with the hair.
I like the mobster one.
So, like, basically, they kind of start to fall in love. I mean, it's kind of almost implied from the beginning that's, like, love at first sight for both of them. But they kind of start to fall in love by, like, playing dress-up every night at the store, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Just having fun. This is how they spend their time together.
Yeah.
Instead of going out on dates and stuff.
Yeah, because they can't go out in public, obviously. Because she's a dummy. But yeah, and obviously, like they're not boning or anything, but obviously there's a lot of physical touch. Yeah, here's the one time she gets tired of his role play smoking cigarettes.
Well, like she's always too like not letting him kiss her. Like,
yeah,
pushes him away a lot. I don't understand that.
I just got that to be like this this montage thing. Yeah, there she is in lingerie. That's kind of the most naked you see Kim Cattrall in this.
You see her skeleton body.
Yeah, she was very thin, very lean. And she said she did a lot of, I forget what type of exercise she said she did, but she said she did a lot of exercise because she was actually trying to look like the mannequins.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so. I never like this because this is the first time, like, she kind of gets caught, like, Hollywood walks in, and she has to, she basically freezes in pose. And it's always in a different pose. So, like, she was saying, like, they had a real sculptor guy, like, sculpt her, and they made 6 different mannequins and all the different poses that she has to do. So they did create, like, actual, like, special dummies just for the movie.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I like, too, there was one little part when they were dancing, like, he froze like he was a mannequin.
Yeah.
He was looking at his watch.
Yeah, he kind of plays with it, too, like, with the freezing the dancer doing. And, like, pretty much with this scene, like, Hollywood already knows, like, what's up. Like, I mean, he doesn't know that she's a real woman that comes to life. Yeah. But he already knows that Andrew McCarthy is, because he even says, I'm like, hey, like, whatever, more power to you, whatever. Like, he doesn't judge them or, think he's weird or anything.
Yeah, he thinks he's in love with an actual mannequin and he doesn't, doesn't criticize him for it at all.
Yeah, I was blanking on his character, McCarthy's character's name. His name is Jonathan Switcher, and I don't know how I blanked on that, because especially Spader says his name like 1,000 times.
Yeah, he does.
So here we have, there was always like animal hijinks in comedy movies too back then. And here we have the evil security guard sicking his dog on them. They're coming out of elevator, and the dog gets scared and runs away. And he's like, what kind of dog is he? He's not a pit bull.
A bulldog.
Bulldog, yeah. His name's Rambo. Because he likes to go
everybody
first
freaks out because you can hear her voice when she's talking, but then when he shows up, it's just with the mannequin. He's always confused because he hears more than one voice.
Right.
So here's this part, your favorite.
This is my favorite part. They're doing a display that has like a conveyor belt gimmick, and when she turns it on, it rips off his pants, and like you could tell they had to speed it up or something. And he starts like laughing, like he didn't know it was going to happen, or maybe it's because it failed, and they, later they sped it up. But maybe at the time it worked so shitty. But like, yeah, that's probably my favorite gag of the movie when his pants get ripped off, and it's just the look at his face afterwards. So his second window he gets is the mannequins. And it's basically like a cloth background that looks like the city that rolls behind them. So they're on bikes, so it looks like they're like moving through the city. But their legs are moving. You can't really see good because people are standing there, but their legs are moving too.
Pedaling.
I think when they show his house, it's just like a back alleyway. Like that's all it is.
It's probably like one of those brownstones or whatever.
Yeah.
He keeps his phone in a drawer. His old-timey wired phone.
But it's like a cool 80s old-timey phone because it's like see-through.
Yeah.
Remember like that trend in the 80s?
I had one in the 90s.
Did you have a see-through phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, like It got really popular with the video games, like the little Game Boys and shit.
Oh yeah.
To make the see-through ones, everybody wanted the see-through.
I always wanted one of those.
I actually have a see-through Xbox.
Really?
Yeah, the first Xbox.
Wow.
Yeah. Because my first regular one broke, and then I got the limited edition one. But you can't really see much because it's inside. It's mostly a metal case, you know. But the plastic is clear plastic.
That's funny. I always like to see through stuff.
Yeah. Now we got to talk about this scene right here because his girlfriend Roxy says, "Oh, you got to meet me for lunch and stuff." And he goes into a restaurant that he got fired from because he actually burned the restaurant down pretty much.
Yeah.
And here you
get. They have random garlic hanging in the back.
I know. It's supposed to be like a nice restaurant. Here he meets the maitre d', who's like, you know, did you come back to, you know? And you know who I thought this guy was? He, like, his comedic acting, the maitre d'. I thought it was Ron House, the guy who played the barber from Private Resort. Mm-hmm. Like, he looks and acts just like him, and he's even bald. Like, he's got the hairpiece on, but I thought that's what it was like. Now, here's the one scene where actually Roxy has her hair down, and I was surprised. I thought she looked, like, totally different like this.
Yeah, because I think they're supposed to be in a date situation.
Yeah, she's trying to win him back and be nice. And it's not even like, I don't know. At this point, I'm not thinking that, like, because they never really broke up or whatever. They just didn't see each other for like a week, you know, and they kind of had that spat or whatever. But, like, I didn't get the, you know, feeling that he was totally against getting back with her, but it just didn't seem like it wasn't happening at the same time. What did you think?
I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous. It's kind of like when you're with somebody, you know, it's never really over kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, now, because he's successful and the kind of guy that she wants, now all of a sudden she's all about him.
Yeah. Because she's immediately, like, basically with, you know, he meets her or whatever, you know, thinking this is, like, the friendship, dating thing, but once he finds out that she's trying to get him to come to her shitty store. Yeah. So he almost, you know, he bumps into a waiter who has a flaming dish, and now a new fire starts. And like, legit, the fire is, like, kind of shooting out all over. He uses the maitre d's wig to put it out.
It's toupee.
It's toupee. No. There's a Rambo.
Teeth.
Yeah, no, he's got a headache now. I think it's funny that he's like sitting under Spader's desk too. The dog is.
Yeah, and Spader hates him.
Yeah.
He feels so bad for the dog. Spader doesn't care.
Yeah, Spader's like all jacked up that this loser guy is doing the window displays and shit. I almost could watch a whole movie of these two guys, just the security guard and Spader's the sleazy GM.
I don't know about the security guard, but I can watch Spader.
Yeah, his character's really good. Like he's the corporate mole and all that shit, but like as the movie goes along, like he's so likable, like you almost want him to like come around the other side and turn good, but yeah, he never does. He stays sleazy. But I guess that's Spader. He could never be normal. He's always got to be sleazy.
I like him as a bad guy. I think they could have just done more with him as a bad guy in another movie or something.
Yeah, he's I can't remember if you ever watched it with me. Did you ever watch The New Kids with Spader? Came out like maybe 2 years before this, right before he made it big. It was made by the guy who made the first Friday the 13th.
Is that the one where he's like a bully or something?
He's a bully, yeah.
I think we did see that.
Yeah, and they tried to rape Lori Loughlin for Full House.
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, but in that one, he transformed himself into an albino. He bleached all his hair and eyebrows and shit.
I think I do remember that one.
Yeah.
We've seen a few James Spader movies.
Yeah, I like a lot of Spader movies.
I think it was when you were doing your Spader marathon thing for one of your shows.
Yeah, Spader Timber. So now
That's a callback.
Yeah. So now we have Roxy and our man. So they're kind of like, you know, cohorts now. They're sneaking around the store at night to try to find out who the woman is that makes the windows with him. Like they don't know the dummy is like his inspiration or whatever.
I like how every time the guy touches her, she always reacts like, ugh,
Yeah.
like she's always grossed out. Ugh.
Yeah, he's like
Oh
starts
my
taking
God.
his dick out. Like
He's
already.
so gross, man. Ugh.
This is like, you know, like seeing this, I kind of imagine like what was happening on the set of The Predator.
Probably. Practically, you would think.
I wonder. Oh wow.
She put ice in his pants.
Yeah, she put ice down Andrew McCarthy's pants. But yeah, that's totally. Yeah, I wonder if they remade this if Olivia Munn would consider, because she actually be kind of good as Roxy, but she kind of looks like her.
Well, and like, I mean, she complained about the guy being grosser on the set, but then her character was all about being harassed all the
Yeah.
time in the movie she was in. So.
Yeah, the movie The Predator, they couldn't figure out if they wanted to make her like a badass Sigourney Weaver type or if she was like gangbang fodder or something.
Yeah.
It was weird. I like that shot that they had previously where you saw the two different levels of the store
Yeah.
and like how massive it was. The security guard was on the bottom level trying to get his dog to like basically work, and then they were sneaking around on the top level.
Yeah, they had action going on both floors.
Yeah. This is like a really well-made movie with like the photography and stuff. There's like everything's very easy to see like what's going on. Not like modern movies where you can't tell what the fuck's going on anytime.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Our man's getting pictures of him rolling around on the floor with the dummy. And the security guard found him with the dummy.
I like how they're standing so close, but they didn't hear all the commotion.
Yeah, they were like 10 feet away. And they were arguing very loudly. And yeah. And pretty much from this part on, the security guard, Felix Maxwell, he's going to start calling Jonathan Switcher a prevert. Right? He calls him a prevert.
I think so.
But like what's weird is like Spader just said just follow him. Like that's all, just tell me what he's doing at night kind of.
Yeah.
So now that he found him like rolling on the floor with like a dummy on top of him, he actually like assaults him and like they have a fist fight.
He actually like punched him in his back.
Yeah, and what's cool is Andrew McCarthy's actually fighting back. Like this is like a legit fight scene through, and they're kind of in the sporting good department of the store. And I think this is like the only part of the store that kind of looks like maybe they like fixed it up to be like for the movie, you know? Because like all these props and stuff. But it's like a legit fight, you know, and they're using all the stuff. He's shooting the tennis balls at him now. It's pretty cool. And then it kind of reminds me of the fight at the end of the Gremlins. Then he tackles him to a huge pile of soccer balls.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the dummy gets involved in the fight. But his back was turned, so he didn't actually see that it was the dummy attacking him. Well, there's some old Air Jordan 1s in the back there up on top. Yeah. So what's funny is they just go back to work after like having a legit fist fight.
Did they have Jordans in the 80s?
Yeah, the first ones came out like 85 or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first ones they sold for 2 years. Like they didn't come out the Jordan 2 for a while. They just kept selling the first one for a long time.
I don't know why I thought that was like more of a 90s,
90s
thing.
I think they got bigger in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was really more around when I remember personally. I remember it was really with the 3 and the 4 got big around 88.
I like how Hollywood heard stuff going on behind him, and like nothing was there, and just to make himself not feel crazy, he just changed his glasses.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, okay, everything's better now.
Yeah, because they were riding bicycles going behind him. And it was like one of those gags where he turned around and he heard something, but nobody was there. So he just puts on a different pair of sunglasses. I like that bicycle he was riding, how it had like the spokes were all covered up. I remember that was another 80s trend with the solid wheels. That was cool. Now here's like the only time, I mean, I guess we are talking about a movie where a dummy comes to life, Mannequin. But I guess we are, like, this is the only kind of quote-unquote unrealistic part of the movie where she rides a hang glider around.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could probably see it on the DVD or the VHS, but on the Blu-ray it's very, very faint, but you can kind of see the wires on the thing on top.
But yeah, when I saw it when we were watching it. I was kind of like, how is she floating up there? Like,
Yeah.
how there's no air blowing to keep her up or whatever.
Right, and I think with a hang glider, you kind of would need to be going in a straight line for a while to get like some wind going or whatever.
You can't just go in a circle.
Yeah, because I mean the department store is huge, but the area diameter is not huge enough for a hang glider.
The dog's like, no.
And I have to say, like, a lot of lesser movies, it just would have been, like, the security guard going after them in the store for a long time. But they kind of, at least at that store, they kind of wrap it up here because she comes down with the hang glider and hits the security guard and knocks him out.
Yeah.
And he's actually going to end up kind of getting fired over that later.
One thing that was interesting about this movie I noticed, too, was, like, she's very forward, like, in terms of women's, you know, whatever you want to, not rights. Well, I guess rights, because, like, even when they were back in Egypt, she was like, I don't want to just get married. I want to make things. And, like, she was all about, like, being an inventor and stuff. And, like, now in this, like, that whole flying scene, she was like, I flew. Like, she's so wanting to accomplish things that, you know, are above what a woman is supposed to be wanting to do. So that's one thing that I found interesting about this movie.
Yeah, like, it's kind of funny because, you know, without going too far down the political rabbit hole here, is like, you know, like, I grew up in the 80s, and that was, like, way after the, like, burning your bra movement and all that stuff. Like, I grew up as a little kid being told that women can do anything a man can do and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I grew up believing that. And, like, now when we go to, like, the modern whatever, like, we're told that the 80s were, like, the dark ages and women, like, they make it sound like it was like, Mad Men and shit. You know what I mean?
But that's why I'm saying, like, there's some things, because I have that impression. Like I was saying earlier, how he made that comment about, well, it's better than working with a bigot. And I'm kind of like, were people aware of that kind of stuff then? So, like, naturally, you know? And then, like, were young people, you know, like, were they... But, I mean, obviously, I was alive in the 80s, but I was little.
You were a kid,
I was a baby or, a young kid. So it's like, I'm not really sure what the culture was like for young people then. But, and then, like, to now this, with her, how she's, like, you know, to me, it seems impressive that she wants to be doing things that a woman, quote-unquote, aren't supposed to do, you know? So, and I don't know... Like you're saying, like, I don't know what the environment was like for women in the 80s, so...
Yeah, I mean, I can't, because I was young, too, I can't speak to what it was really like, out in the real-life workplace. Yeah. But I can just speak to, like, what we were taught as children, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't taught that sexist way, you know? Yeah. And, like, women in the workforce, you know, becoming executives and stuff, like, that was a big deal in the 80s, you know? Like, you know... But yeah, here we kind of have, you know, the aftermath of the shenanigans being exposed of, you know, the security guard being knocked out in the middle of the store and stuff. He gets fired. And it's funny.
So does Spader.
Yeah, Spader tries to stick up for him. And Estelle Getty fires Spader as well. Because, like, Spader pretty much the whole time is, like, talking shit about everything that's going on in the store now.
And now he even insults her that she's so old to be running the store.
Yeah. So, like, pretty much she fires Spader and the security guard on the spot. And she pretty much gives Andrew McCarthy Spader's job. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great moment there where he tries, the security guard tries to, you know, bond with Spader and say, we'll file a grievance with a union. Spader tells him, we're not even in a union. Like, what are you talking about, idiot? Here we get a nice, like, what would you call it, montage of the, you know, like, literally the newspapers are getting in on this, you know, these ads. These, not ads, these windows, you know.
Because the store is doing better.
Yeah, they're making lots of money.
Financially.
So, like, somebody spent $50 at the store, they showed that. They're just making... And I gotta say, like, I think the biggest, like, trend or whatever I've noticed about the windows that they're making.
It's funny how everybody's looking at him because they all know.
Yeah, like the word is out that he's always like people like legit think it's like a Norman Bates thing with him and this dummy, because he always like you said, they go into rooms and talk and everybody eavesdrops and they hear. So it's not even like they're discreet, but
they never like go into the room to look. It's funny.
So now we showed like the neon, very like Miami Vice looking 80s stores now like doing shitty business. Yeah, like I like this thing because BJ Worth, he throws this shit, like all these papers in this conference boardroom, and there's like ashtrays, like 4 ashtrays on there, and the one ashtray like flies over and almost hit that lady. She has to grab it. like I don't know like how to describe it other than it's like try not to shit on like modern movies too much, but I like how back then even comedy movies everybody's acting out of control and so crazy.
Yeah, whatever happened.
Yeah.
And they went with it.
Yeah.
They didn't cut it out.
But, going back to the women's thing, too, because, like, they explained at the beginning of the movie, Estelle Getty just took over the store, like 2 weeks ago. And it was failing before she even took it over.
Did you see that? It did. Her, like, eyeglass thing was in the glass. I don't think she meant to do that.
No, yeah.
She saw it and she was like...
she pulled it out.
Oops.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I mean, it's a woman's success story with her like turning the store around because her ideas and promoting Jonathan Switcher.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, everybody wanted her to sell the store really cheap at a loss to the Lester people.
Yeah.
And she refused to. She stuck by her guns. So.
Yep. She's a successful businesswoman.
Yeah. And
meanwhile, this girl, she like refuses to leave these like nasty men that are like over her. well, yeah. At a Lester, there are like you see women in the back. His finger.
Yeah, he must have smashed it in a car door or something. That's weird how that like takes years to go away.
Does it go away?
It does. I had it one time. I got a car door slammed on my hand and my thumb. But it was more like the top half of the nail turned black. You just have to wait for it to grow out. It takes a long time. Because it's blood that gets trapped underneath there. But I see that a lot in old movies. And I'm like, geez, can you just like not show that? So yeah, now he brings the dummy into the women's bathroom. So they can have a conversation. And like, women are like, yeah, that's fine.
They're like, they even say, oh yeah, come in, it's okay.
Yeah. And now the women are all gathering outside, eavesdropping, hear him talk to the dummy. Like, since he was the vice president or whatever, I'm surprised he just didn't have an office where he kept her in the whole time.
Yeah, really?
I mean, you would think, because he took Spader's job, you think he would have got Spader's office or whatever. And, like, this scene, like, they feature it, the gag when Hollywood walks in a minute, they actually feature this at the end of the trailer. But yeah, this is really, even though they were kind of like holding each other in affection before, I think this is their first real kiss here that we see.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Hollywood tells him he won't tolerate eavesdropping unless he's a part of it here. Yeah. So Hollywood bursts in, and I think this is like another good example of like the custom mannequin that they made, because like she's sitting on the sink, like. You see the position of the arms of the mannequin. You can tell it's a custom one they made for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hollywood tells him, that's the line from the trailer. He says, Jonathan, I would normally never bother you while you're getting a piece of wood.
And there's another part where he says something about, like, calls him a freak or something, and you're like, I don't know. He's, like, celebrating it.
Yeah. This is where Hollywood's afraid of getting fired because, like he doesn't do as good a work as Jonathan or whatever, but...
And he asks him for help, right?
Yeah.
But he says he can't do anything with anybody around or whatever.
Yeah, because he... Like, this is where you kind of find... I mean, it's really kind of been evident the whole time that it's really her that makes the windows and not him.
Yeah.
But this is where it's really like... because basically Hollywood wants Jonathan to teach him how to make these great windows.
Yeah.
But like the thing I noticed is really the common thread in all the windows is just that they put like mechanical movement into them.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like that is what really. And I'm surprised the luster just didn't rip that off right away. You know.
Yeah. I guess they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Or they don't have anyone willing to.
Yeah, they just want to sit around in boardrooms all day and sexually harass Roxy.
Jeez, her dress is so loose on her.
Yeah, it's probably because she was so skinny. Yeah, I want to say Big Trouble in Little China came out before this, but I don't know which one was shot first or because they were like real close within like a year. But like pretty much this movie and Big Trouble in Little China is like the only thing I ever knew Kim Cattrall from the. Yeah, this is great. Hollywood's like groping this female mannequin. He says, "Take a picture. Like we can convince my mom that I switched."
That's funny.
Yeah, so now we have Spader. He's over at Illustra now.
It's funny, like, I didn't realize how much, like, dialogue was in this movie, because there's some parts now where I'm kind of like, what are they saying?
Yeah. This is where he's basically, Spader's just introducing the security guard to Miss BJ Worth just to try to give him a job, and they're kind of regrouping over there. Because, like, the whole time, they're still working on, like, what is the plan to, you know, shut that other store down so they can buy it for cheap or whatever. But now it's, like, not only is it their main competitor, it's beating them, so...
Look how Spader is, like,
yeah.
He's so, like, he's acting, like, with every inch of his body.
I know. Yeah, because I'm trying to think, other than maybe that Rodriguez movie Shorts, which was really a kid's movie, I can't think of any lighthearted movies Spader was ever in, so, I mean, I definitely don't think he was ever doing a comedic role like this ever again. I think it's the only one he ever did, period. So yeah, so basically, you know, they're scheming up ways to put it into the success that's going on over there. And like they know it's the dummy. Like they still don't know that it's a woman, but they think if they get this guy's dummy, they can either finally force him to come work for them and revitalize their business, or at the very least they could you know, put the other store out of business.
Yeah.
So,
I like this one. I thought the little photographer guy there was cool.
Yeah.
At first, when I first saw this, I was like, is that a guy actually sitting there? Like,
Yeah.
because it looks real.
Well, it is, because when he was working with Hollywood, because he had to come with that concept himself. Like,
oh, it is a real guy.
Yeah, and the girls are real too. Like the one on the right kind of still looks like a dummy,
Really?
but yeah, they're supposed to be real because that he even says it was Hollywood's line of maybe my mom will think I switched.
Yeah.
It gave Jonathan an idea. He says, "Oh, switch the dummies with real people."
Really?
Yeah,
I totally missed it.
yeah, that was the theme of it. It comes like there's a lot of stuff in this movie, like, and I've seen this movie probably a dozen times over the years, and since we got this Blu-ray or whatever, we got this like a year ago. It was really just watching it like the last couple of times back to back, like because I watched this like 1.5 times in the last couple of weeks that I got a lot of the nuance or whatever. So yeah, so Roxy and Armand came by and he's finally like he's liberated now too. He's just going to take the dummy out in public, you know. He dresses her up. And I guess technically this is kind of stealing though because he's taking the, you know. Like, he put fancy jewelry on her and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's technically
From
taking...
the store.
From the store, yeah.
But he's gonna bring it back.
Yeah. I did that one time when I worked at a video store. And somebody told me I was stealing because I took a tape home to watch it and brought it back. But I don't think it was really stealing because I brought it back.
But at a video store, you're supposed to officially do it.
Yeah. Well, it was a used copy, but it was for sale, and we didn't. It was the only copy we had, and they put it for sale because they were trying to get rid of all the VHSs, you know.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I wish I would have bought it for like $10 or whatever it was because it's a pretty rare movie. But I was like, oh, I want to watch this, so I just took it home, watched it, and brought it back.
So now she gave in, and she's gonna sleep with the guy.
Yeah, she's so hurt that her boyfriend left her for a dummy that she's gonna go sleep with the guy. Now, I think this is one of the best parts of the movie with, you know, Spaders come up with the plan to kidnap the dummy, you know, because then his switcher won't be able to do what he does. Here we have a great dummy. Everybody's like, what I like too is when he takes her out in public, like people on the street are like screaming in shock and horror that he's got a dummy. But
except for that man.
Yeah.
Who are you to judge?
Who are you to judge? But yeah, like basically, Spader and Felix they want to go kidnap the dummy, so they what do you call it? Like, I guess it's like a mugger or robber. Like you put on the ski cap and you put shoe polish on your face. This turns into like a straight up action movie chase scene.
Well, it seems like to me he's just trying to be more like having camouflage like a soldier.
Yeah.
Because he's from the military or whatever.
So we have a car chasing a motorcycle here, and Felix is like crashing into all these other cars and stuff.
I think they kind of took liberties with this part because if only he's supposed to be able to see her move, like they're out in public and there's people driving around and she comes to life. Yeah,
it's just certain shots they cut to, and it'll be cut in between the dummy being on the back of the motorcycle or the real her. So I guess we're supposed to assume the parts where it's her, like here, like nobody's seeing them. I guess.
Yeah, I know, but still it seems
strange. Because whenever they see, Spader and Felix see her, they just see the dummy. I like this part. They go through the alleyway and stuff, and obviously there's like some stunt ramps set up here, but it's good.
This part,
part of the run.
Guy on the motorcycle.
Yeah, you can tell the stunt driver is totally not McCarthy.
I was surprised how obvious they were.
Yeah, they weren't counting on Blu-ray ever being invented back then. And the gag here is that they drive their car down in this little alleyway. They ramp up into the air, like total Dukes of Hazzard style, and the car actually gets stuck, like probably 8 feet off the ground.
I wonder how they did that.
I think they just had to like ramp the car and then put the car in. Like I think one of the sides of the walls was fake to wedge it in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they put it up on the lift, and they probably had like a fake wall with something holding it on the side. So here we have Roxy and Armand in his totally tasteless, nasty tiger Scarface apartment. And after all this time of sexually harassing the shit out of her, he couldn't get a boner.
Nope.
Yeah.
And he says maybe because you're so cold.
Yeah, he actually blames her. It's not even apologetic or whatever.
I can't even believe she went there though. So gross.
I know.
That guy's so gross.
Well, she even said, "Take me to your place before I change my mind." So it's like, I guess one thing we should talk about this is, I guess I should actually look up the name of the song. But this movie, launched Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. Like, the theme song to this, which was originally Jefferson's Starship, eventually became Starship, but this song that was in this movie, you would not believe how big this song was. And I mean, I still hear it, from time to time on, a radio station and shit, like Bob FM or whatever. But, this song was huge at the time. Kind of made this movie seem even bigger than it really was.
Lover's Leap.
Yeah. So they're actually boning in a tent in a display in the store, a camping display.
Or doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, they both kept poking their heads out of the tent. How do you have sex that way?
And then lying around naked in the store. Yeah,
they're finally having sex now. And, whenever I see this movie, I always see that, and I always think, the sequel would have been, their mannequin baby. A baby that, they whatever, is, always turned into wood or whatever. Their baby could be, the little baby Jesus out of, a manger or something.
Oh, my gosh.
But here they
never grow.
Yeah, I mean
it would be weird.
Yeah,
it'd have to be a really creative story.
I mean, I would say maybe Andrew McCarthy went on to bigger things or whatever. I mean, they did, like I said, they did make the sequel. They just didn't continue the story. They came up with 2 new characters or whatever. But yeah, it wasn't like Andrew McCarthy got super big on this. I mean, unless just Pretty in Pink made him bigger, but it wasn't pretty much unless I'm blanking on a movie, I think this is the last really big movie he was in.
Really?
Yeah, because after this was Fresh Horses, which I love. They shot in Cincinnati. Him and Molly Ringwald. They didn't try to recapture Pretty in Pink. They just made a dark drama with them two, and it like flopped. And then that was kind of like the end of McCarthy as like a big guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like I want to say, because he had his early movies like Class and stuff, which were a hit, like with Rob Lowe, but you know that's when he was still first starting out, pretty much. But I want to say pretty much for Andrew McCarthy, the big triumvirate of movies was St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, and this. So here, yeah, Felix and Spader, and the thing I love about Spader is like, you know, his like robber's outfit or undercover mission outfit. He wears his regular 3-piece suit. He puts gloves on, like, and they, you know, they both have gloves on. I guess not to leave fingerprints because they're breaking in the store that they used to work at. But if you notice closely, Spader, he has like gloves on that are like women's velvet gloves that like go up to like you can tell like they go all the way up into his suit, like they're like the women's evening gown gloves. Like see him how tight they are on him. Yeah. He's totally got women's evening gown gloves, and you know it's Spader because like he's a real actor and everything. He puts all the
you have to put her ass in his face.
Yeah, like, when they're trying to grab the dummies and they're grabbing all awkwardly in sexual positions and stuff. But I bet Spader had some kind of like fictional character biography behind his character that made this guy really dark and twisted.
I thought this was the weirdest display because she's like not even dressed in this Egyptian theme that they have. Yeah, they just did a random scene.
It's not the main display window because you know these department stores. I was gonna say this when we were watching this other night. Those department stores like they have like different because they go around blocks. They have different windows. That wasn't like the main big display, but it was just like the shitty little Egyptian display that she was just standing in. Now here, after they boned all night, McCarthy fell asleep in a pile of furs.
Everybody's clapping right now.
Yeah, everybody loves it. That he's naked in the middle of the store. And I think it's kind of cool that he was able to get away with this without, like, getting fired.
Yeah. I like how it's just a snap from Hollywood, everybody quiets.
Yeah, like Hollywood just, like, you know, he totally commands the room, tells everybody to shut up.
He's telling him they stole her.
Yeah, they stole all the dummies, pretty much. All the mannequins. And he tells them, including your special one, so... And, of course, he runs off naked.
And like, they're still clapping.
Yeah, and, like... You know... Like, whatever we are into this... We're getting towards the end. There's actually only 15 minutes left. But I thought this was a great ending because, like, you don't really see it coming that it's going to ramp up into this, like, really frenetic, comedic, almost action movie way, you know?
This car is awesome.
Yeah. Hollywood's license plate bag girl. His giant
it
pink
says something
Cadillac.
Else above it. You've got us something. I didn't see.
Yeah, I couldn't read that either when I watched it. I love more fast motion comedy hijinks. You could almost play yakety sax over this. Hollywood has to put his giant car cover that says Hollywood on it. I almost think, like, in a weird way, like, Hollywood, like, the character was based on the Angeline lady. How she, like, you know, had her whole gimmick and all that.
Yeah. Look, even the lamp is pink there.
Yeah, very stylish.
Busted.
I like how they're always in this boardroom. Like, Spader never really got outed as being the corporate mole while he was still at the other job. He just got fired for fucking everything up.
Yeah.
But not even him really screwing everything up. Just letting the security guard run wild. And constantly talking shit about Jonathan. Yeah.
Oh, he's getting mad serious.
See, that's like, I'm a huge Andrew McCarthy fan. He's like one of my favorite actors from the 80s movies and stuff. Now, we were talking about this when Roxy, like, runs off here. Oh, he punched Spader, too. Wow. Yeah. Like, but I feel like McCarthy has a great natural, like, comedic whatever. Like, but he really goes into his roles. Like, you could tell how pissed he was in that scene. Like, it was actually convincing acting-wise. Now, I was going to say this the other night because we were talking about how weird Roxy I'm getting tongue-tied here. how weird Roxy runs in this movie, in this part. I think they sped her up. I think she just couldn't really, like, run with stride because she had that, like, skirt on.
I don't know. She looks like she's just running normal.
Or either
she's just being, like, super bouncy because she's wearing those shoes.
That could be.
She's trying to go fast in those little shoes.
Because the shots where she's in, the people behind her, yeah, it's weird. Like, she's, like, moving in this weird, like, herky-jerky, almost stop-motion animation style. But, yeah, I guess you're right, because the people in the... Oh, look, Spader trying to grease his hair back down. But the people in the shots...
He's, like, grabbing the dog by the neck. Like,
yeah.
When I saw that the first time, I was like, oh, that doesn't look right.
Yeah. Yeah, now he has a new dog, the Terminator. He's like a very fearful, I guess, German Shepherd or whatever. He just runs by Andrew McCarthy. He doesn't even care. And I actually thought they did a good job of the way they shot this. I mean, they pretty much just run back and forth in this department store twice. But the way they make it like a cool Keystone Cops thing with all security guards tripping and Andrew McCarthy sliding underneath them and doing all this shit. I thought this was good. And it's really outrageous the way they knock, like, all the security guards knock all the, like, clothes down in the store.
Well, I just thought it was crazy because, like, you know those things poke you and they hurt. Like,
yeah.
I was, like, thinking, like, just seeing them all crashing into everything. I was like, that must have hurt them.
Yeah. You got to give it up to the stunt people from back then. Yeah, because they're going full force in those metal racks.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, I mean, even though we had...
Jeez.
Even though, I mean, this is just more hijinks comedy, but... Even though we had, like, the kind of action chase or whatever.
There.
Yeah. Waving her girly arms.
And her legs, too. They were, like, all going out sideways.
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised they put for a comedy, romantic comedy, they put together such a frenetic,
He just sat in there.
Action comedy. Yeah, he falls into the display case.
So she has the idea to go and chop all the stuff up.
Yeah, it's not even like a compactor, it's like a legit shredder they have here. So all the dummies that they stole, she's going to go chop them up, And, like, this was, like, really some hateful shit here.
I know.
That like, they just want to destroy their competition so bad they think if they kill this guy's dummy, he'll just, like, give up and either go work for them or just won't make anything anymore or whatever.
Like, I was thinking about that. Like, I know it's just a mannequin that she's trying to destroy because that's what she thinks it is, just a mannequin. But, like, it's really kind of dastardly. Like,
oh, yeah. It's total asshole shit. Like...
Because, like, I mean, it turns into a person.
Yeah, and, I'll be real honest with you. Like, I think the real villain of the movie is Roxy. Because, like, Spader and the security guard... Like, Spader was a traitorous mole son of a bitch. But, like, he never really did anything out of malice or spite. He just was, the business, the sabotage for the business.
Yeah.
Where she was, like, she pretty much dumped him for being a loser. Then when he gets successful, she wants him to come work for her, basically. And then when he says, when he keeps refusing to, because he's not about selling out for money, he likes where he works. Like... Yeah. This is a great scene where Hollywood hits all the security guard guys with a giant fire hose. And it goes on for a long time.
I think he says something to, like, this is what it means to be a man or something
yeah.
like that.
And it's funny how they're all just rolling around getting blown back by the water. So Roxy, she kind of gets her comeuppance here because she's standing underneath she doesn't know it, but she's standing underneath like a big trash chute. So all this garbage comes down and buries her in a pile of, like, paper garbage.
Who did her hair, by the way? Like, it's such a funky hairdo.
Yeah. It's, like, all wrapped up in a weird bun, kind of.
Well, it's like having a bun, and then she's got, like, 2 braids coming out or something. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. Here's, like, out of nowhere, like, a nerd janitor comes out to, like, watch what's going on. He sees Andrew McCarthy going up this giant conveyor belt that he knows is dangerous. Like, the nerd just stands there, though. Like, the nerd janitor, he never tries to turn it off or help him or do anything.
Well, because he thinks it's just a mannequin going in there.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, McCarthy's, like, hanging over the edge. He could fall in, too,
Mm.
It's really great. It's like the You know,
that part looks so good.
Yeah, like, because you never see her, like, transform.
Yeah.
That's one thing about this movie is you never see her, like, transform from the wood dummy to the flesh and blood woman.
Yeah.
And there was, like, that one shot there where it's supposed to look like a wooden or plastic arm come to life.
Yeah.
And you know who it looked like? Didn't, like, the white skin look like Data from Star Trek Next Generation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally,
so then the guy sees that it's a real person. So
Yeah.
then he finally goes to turn the machine on.
Yeah. Finally, he turns it off when he hears it really. Finally, Hollywood's Water Rose comes out and he actually says, "Oh shit!" He snaps at him and he runs away. But they don't try to get him or anything. They just like run past him. They're so obsessed with the dummy. And here we have one of probably the best comedy from the security guard coming up here in a minute. So basically it gets explained here because the nerd janitor can see her as a woman. You know, I guess just that act of like love or whatever, and like he was like putting himself in danger for her.
Yeah, they never really explain that. And now this guy's like, I want one too.
Yeah, like the nerd sees that a dummy became a real woman, so he starts digging in this pile of trash that has all the mannequin parts, and it pays off really good there in a way too. So he's kissing all the dummies and mannequins, trying to get them to come to life.
And then he finds Roxy.
Then he finds Roxy knocked out.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he's like, "Thank you,
It's
God."
a miracle.
So here in another crushing blow to the Me Too movement, he kisses a knocked out Roxy, and I like the way she wakes up and like crosses her eyes and shit. She's totally like slapping and pushing the nerd off her and stuff. It's crazy how people are just willing to like believe dummies could come to life and shit. McCarthy's still rocking them bowling shoes.
He's got his arm around her.
Yeah. So McCarthy and her start to walk out, you know, happy ending. And Hollywood runs in. Hollywood can't believe his eyes that she's a real woman. You know, they just thought Switcher was just like a weird guy this whole time.
Yeah. It's the dummy.
Yeah, here he is. She's the dummy. Felix screaming, "She's the dummy." Because nobody else really believes that the dummy is her.
Yeah.
And like, this was like the only part that I kind of didn't understand was Estelle Getty shows up at this other store all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's just like to wrap the ending up, but she comes by saying, you know, she has the videotape from the security camera showing that they broke in. And there's a huge... Because the cops are here now, too. I'm assuming security, like, after they busted up their own store, by the way, like, they probably called the cops. Yeah.
Well, she has the tape, so it seems like she reported it to the police when they broke into their store.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The break-in. Yeah, because the cops kind of just, without question, haul everybody off to jail and kind of a comedy ending. But they keep saying it was kidnapping, and they're like, "Kidnap who?" And, like, yeah, I feel like she's the dummy. Screaming, "She's the dummy."
And it seems like she knows about
it.
Yeah, because he's asking, what else did you see on the tape?
Yeah, she's like, "I saw what I had to."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like Hollywood snaps at her. Yeah. I mean, she's only in a couple scenes, but Estelle Getty's awesome in this movie. Yeah. I love her, too, in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Pretty much the only one that didn't go to jail was Roxy. Because she, like, I guess she wasn't really that much in part of the schemes.
She wasn't the one that broke into the store.
Yeah. And I almost kind of wish, in a way, this was, like, the ending shot of the movie. But I like how, like, you don't know why, but they're still showing the nerd janitor. Like, everybody's left. The movie seems over. Like, you think the credits are going to start rolling up now? Yeah. And the nerd janitor, he's like, fuck it. He dives into the pile of trash looking for more women. But here's the real ending of the movie. Emmy and Jonathan Switcher, they get married in the window. And it kind of looks like Hollywood is marrying them, but there's actually a judge off to the side with a book and all that.
Yeah.
And Estelle Getty's in the window with him too. But it's cool that they got married in the window. So I mean, that's really taken up a notch for the fans outside. Yeah, Hollywood's crying. And then the best part is when she flips on the bouquet. She like totally just flips it to him, and he goes so crazy when he like gets it. Oh,
because he's getting married next.
Yeah. That would have been a great sequel if Hollywood got a dummy to fall in love with.
Oh yeah.
And the theme song's playing. Now we do the freeze frame. I know people make fun of it, but I miss the freeze frame of movies because it's just like it leaves you with the feeling that like, hey, it's not really over, or like, you know, it's just a fun moment. Yeah. So that's it for Mannequin. I gotta say, I've always been a fan of this. I don't think I saw it in the theater when it came out, but I know I saw it either on video or TV like a lot of times. And it's kind of funny, like I was reading like the background of this movie and stuff, and like the guy who was like the executive producer, he actually was like a research guy, and basically like they totally like researched this out to hit certain demographics, and they mostly were going for women. And I thought it was funny that I guess after Pretty in Pink and all that, they found out through research that even though they didn't consider him a star actor, that Andrew McCarthy he tested well with women, like he was in movies that they liked, so that's totally why they casted Andrew McCarthy. It was just based on market research.
That's funny. They didn't include Hollywood in the credits.
No,
that's weird.
But like, yeah, like I liked this ever since I was a kid, and like I don't know, just something about it stays with me. And even though it was like totally, like from what I was reading, it was totally meant to be a girls' movie. Like just as a kid, that the idea that it was about a dummy coming to life, like it really captured my imagination. And I think like just that weird premise, like really got people interested in the movie who like normally wouldn't even, you know, be interested in a romantic comedy type thing, you know. Yeah. And obviously, like we said, there's like a lot more that the movie has to offer, because it's not just, you know, a dummy comes to life and they fall in love or something. It's just, there's a lot of comedy and hijinks. It's a really broad movie. Yeah. But yeah, just like even when we were watching it the other night, just something about this movie, and I'm getting really choked up here talking about Mannequin. No, just my throat's dry. But I wish I was getting emotional talking about Mannequin. That would be great. But no, just like, I don't know, it's just one of those movies that like you could totally put on after a bad day at work or something, you know what I mean? And it would like cheer you up. So I mean, I don't know, after all these years, like I'm just shocked like how much I still love this movie, and how you know, yeah, John Wanamaker was their department store, and then Bosco's was the Lestra show store, yeah. Huh. But yeah, so I'm just really surprised still how much this film works on so many levels, at least for me. And I mean, obviously part of it is the nostalgia, and it's obviously actors I like and stuff. But yeah, it's still like as far as like, you know, the 80s being a decade of weird movie premises and stuff, I think this is the one that has, for me personally, has like the weirdest premise, but it's actually still a really good movie and not just like a weird oddity, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like weird science, like
yeah,
she comes to life, but then it's like just a horn dog movie the whole time.
Yeah, it's just you know. But and I think it's funny too, because like the tagline is like, he's got all the luck, and like he's not like a lucky guy at all in the movie. but I mean, everything works out for him in the end. But it's like, it's really the story of a guy who like you know has not much, you know, going for him, and you know. But yeah, and I know from the first time we watched it like a year ago, and then when we rewatched it this time, I know your opinion of the movie changed a lot.
Yeah, like the first time we watched it, like I was like pretty annoyed with her character, because it was like I felt like she was leading him on, and like you know, here she is, this mannequin that she's never really gonna be able to create a life with him or whatever, because she can't even leave the store and all that. But then like this time around, like I kind of was annoyed with him, because I was like, what are you doing, guy? Like, why are you letting yourself fall so hard for her? She's a mannequin. Like, you're not going to be able to have a life with her. And then, like, I don't know, for some reason, I guess I didn't remember the ending that she, like, you know, turned human. So,
Right.
Yeah, like, it was strange. I had a totally different experience the first time and the second time.
Yeah.
And, like, I was surprised when we saw it the first time because we try to watch, like, themed movies for holidays, and, like, you wanted to watch this one for Valentine's Day, and I was like, why do you want to watch this? Like, I was just so, like, not into it. And then, like, I can tell, like, ever since then, like, how much you love it. So I'm not gonna, like, I wasn't gonna keep being like, why are you into this? But, like,
you're just like, Mannequin sucks.
Yeah. But, like, this time that we watched it, we rewatched it. I don't know if it was because it wasn't, like, the pressure of Valentine's Day or something, having to watch it or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. I felt different this time. And, like, you know, I do think it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy, like, you know, seeing the, you know, over-the-top characters and stuff, just because you don't really get that anymore in movies. Like, you really don't get comedy movies, period. And if you do, it's got to be some pee-poo, nasty stuff going on. Like,
somebody get a face full of cow manure or something.
Yeah, and, like, so you don't really get, like, these kinds of comedies that are just, you know, fun and, like, that are, I wouldn't really say it's innocent, because there is a lot of, like, sexual stuff, obviously, because it's a romantic one, but...
Like, I really think this movie, it's rated, like, PG, but I think this movie, even though, like, kids will like it because of the dummy coming to life, I think it's, like, it's really plays more for teen audiences and above, because of the love story and everything. But yeah, so yeah, like, I was, like, you know, going to save this for the next Valentine's Day show, but, you know, like last Valentine's Day, you know, I pulled out, you know, because, you know, this one you weren't as hot on. We exposed you to My Demon Lover with Scott Valentine, which, I mean, you can't get more perfect for Valentine's Day than Scott Valentine as a demon lover. You know, the titular My Demon Lover. But yeah, like, man, I don't know. I mean, like, you know me, like, I'm not really against love stories or whatever, but sometimes they're just hard for movies to me to get into, because it's just about two people meeting and falling in love. So, like, these kind of fantasy ones, you know, they're kind of more fun for me to get into, especially when they have a lot of comedy in them. So yeah. So Mannequin, so definitely was a movie I always loved as a kid. I still haven't seen the sequel. When I bought this Blu-ray, I bought the Blu-ray of the sequel. I still haven't watched it. I'm going to give it a watch here soon, see if it's any good.
I'm curious about it.
Yeah, at the very least we'll watch it just to see Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
And it has Christy Swanson, who I really like. But yeah, Mannequin, definitely, I don't know. It's just, you know, I don't know if it's like the right movie for the right times now, but I think, shockingly, I think I like this more now as a 41-year-old man than I did as a 10-year-old boy when it came out and I first saw it. So, yeah, so definitely big recommendation. If you haven't seen Mannequin, see it. Angel McCarthy killing it. Meshach Taylor killing it. Kim Cattrall really playing a great, you know, female lead. You know, really strong female lead, I would say. And then all the other comedy side characters working good, so... Anything else you want to say about Mannequin?
Nope. I think I actually said a lot during this one.
Yeah. So watch Mannequin, everybody. Thanks a lot. Getting ready for the fall season here. Hope you guys are all pumped for Halloween. Halloween. So yeah.
I've already had my first fright of the season last night. I freaked myself out.
Yeah, you heard a little girl talking in the closet in the back.
I heard some female voice talking in the back of the house, and it was scary. So I made you go walk through the whole house and make sure nothing was there.
Maybe it was a dummy.
Oh, God.
Maybe we had a dummy coming to life in the house. She's the dummy.
She's the dummy.
All right, everybody, thanks again. We'll see you next time in the movie graveyard.